Good day, everyone. This is Dasetro, and I am welcoming you to today's live stream. And as usual, I have beside myself my most beautiful, sugar-licking hot baby girl.
Yes, you're most welcome to the live stream section today, and it's great having you. If you're watching after now, please don't forget to like and share it. So, it's the topic today. It's a touching one. So, what's really happening? What's actually happening is to settle in
Okay,
Russia.
let's run through the memory lane. We all know that Russia's invasion into Ukraine did not start today. Actually, in the year 2014, Russia had its first encroachment into Ukraine when Ukraine had their political upheaval and the likes. But something drastic happened in the year 2022, February precisely. Russia suddenly woke up with barrage of attack on Ukrainian soil. Simply because, according to the statement, then it was like Ukraine did not keep to a previous agreement with respect to not joining NATO, because Russia has always been on the side that anything that concerns America is often treated with what? With a lot of gloves to be worn. And as such, they did not want America's influence to be closer to their borders. But for NATO to have allowed some level of relationship with Ukraine, they found it somehow disturbing. That was the excuse that Russia made. And because they are now saying that Ukraine wants to have a romance with NATO, that was the reason why they went in. But before we could say Jack Robinson, a lot was going into this war, and the war that we thought we end in a week, 2 weeks, 3 weeks, 1 month, because everybody felt Ukraine was like a miniature mosquito before Russia. But surprisingly, 1 year afterwards, Ukraine is still standing. Russia, that was thinking it will be a walkover, was beginning to have an unbelievable mindset that, come to think of it, we thought we'll just wrap up this and we'll go ahead with all other transactions that we want to have with the world rather. But somehow, Ukraine was just pushing, pushing, pushing. Till presently, 2020, 2022, 2023, 2024, 2025, and now this is 2026. In 2026, a lot of news, disturbing news that nobody ever believed, that we all thought that the historical David kills Goliath is just in the history. We are beginning to see a different arm of operation, because it's like the Goliath of Russia is now beginning to feel the impact of Davidic stone. Or are we just living a life of fantasy, believing what they want us to believe in the news? Let us calm down and ask ourselves this question. What is really going on in Russia? Because after all this series of barrage of attacks on Ukraine, Russia has been sanctioned severally, to the extent that numerous of their finances have been negatively impaired. And one would have thought that Russia would be in a point of dilemma. But with your experience, what did you notice?
Russia was still pushing, nonetheless. But just of recent, we see some of their cabinets or ministers coming out
No,
to
no. Before you even enter the cabinet, you discover that despite the series of battering from the economic
sanctions.
sanctions and the likes of that, Russia was still not. Everybody, I think there was a particular president that said that the ruble, Russian ruble, will become worthless. But what we saw was that the reverse was the case, and it was gaining momentum. And
because they routed
okay,
their economic activities outside US dollars. You know, they had this reserve of over 600 billion US dollars in asset, as in they've just found this reserve. They also had about 300 liquid cash, 300 billion liquid cash just before February 2022. So they've actually built, you know, when we're talking of Russia, Russia is like the second largest uh, gas producing company in the country in the whole of the world, and it's among the first five oil producing countries in the world. So they've built their fortunes over the years, and like they've really preserved reserves for the raining day. But you saw, as the war was going on, they were still gaining momentum. They were able to manage, and their economy, they routed all their operations, their trade, their international trade.
Thanks to China.
Yes, outside the US dollars. So they were beginning to get traction despite the sanctions. Lots of their money, like 300 billion US dollars or thereabouts, was withheld in the sanctions, as in the US dollar, and yet they continued. So, and the standard of living there was still okay for them. They were still going, not until lately. I don't know what it was. So, until lately, what have never happened since the Soviet Union, since the war, since anything, we were seeing, is it their finance minister or thereabouts, if I'm not mistaken, coming out and saying they are lacking workers or soldiers for the war front, and things are happening. But when you really go inside the Russian economy, do you really see what is happening? And that's what we want to be dissecting this morning.
Now, the question is this: what is actually going on in Russia? If you are a Russian, or you live in Russia, or you have experience with what is going on in Russia, you can drop in your comment. With what we are having surfacing online, a lot of news have been capturing the fact that Russia is now beginning to turn upside down. One is the fact that the queues that we thought was a baptismal name for the Nigerian economy, that people will have to queue for fuel for several hours, for several days, thanks to some persons that have made it happen. Now in Nigeria, we don't experience that again. And that credit goes to God and Dangote Refinery that has helped Nigeria to stabilize in terms of it. But we are so shocked to find out that this our usual
and those that also gave Dangote Refinery the enabling environment.
Yeah.
You must say that. So it's not just good you say bad about maybe the government. If a government gave an entrepreneur an enabling environment,
we're not. Our emphasis is not on.
Yes, I'm just. Today. It's just an aside.
But see this. The truth is that presently, Russia, that happens to be in very good supply of oil and gas and the likes of them, is now experiencing a monumental queue, to the extent that the citizens are complaining and they could not believe themselves. And I'm like, oh, this was the lifestyle that we were used to before in Nigeria. But of recent, we have been removed from that platform. So you guys having a taste of this is to see the pain that some countries have been passing through, and you have never had such dosage. Now the question is, if a country like Russia, one of the dreaded, as in one of the highly feared nations of the world, is experiencing currently this level of pain by a citizen with respect to shortage of supply of energy, what could really be happening? Is it possible that Russia is starting to cave in? Okay. Secondly, is the fact that some days back, just last week here, we have this outburst that large numbers of the citizens started trooping to the bank to withdraw their money in mass, and billions of Russian currency were being withdrawn because the people are scared They have no trust or little trust in their banking system. And you all know that is a red flag in any economy. When the banking system collapse sets in, every other thing will be dropping like a pack of cards. So once again, we ask the question: could this
Yeah.
mean that the Russian economy is
Yes,
beginning to cave
as in
in?
statistics shows that by June this 2026, the inflation rate in Russia has moved up to 6% against the 4% that
Mm.
was uh, envisaged by the Central Bank of Russia. So I'm just trying to
So,
buttress what you're saying.
so if interest rates,
No
what's it called?
inflation
If
rate.
inflation rate is now going up, that should spell
And
another
that's
challenge.
that's just telling you that just like you said, the queues are much, the money is much in circulation, the resources are few, and
So
the prices will just be going
should we
up.
be expecting more Russian citizens flying out of the country to other countries? That is something I'm just thinking about, because if they are withdrawing their money, that means the value of their money is dropping. They do not believe in a banking system again. But how long can they continue to hold cash without making adequate use of it? And we also heard about the issue of the bond, the government bonds that people refuse. They blatantly, blatantly refuse to invest in the government bond. Also, we discovered that we learned that the what's it called, Putin had to travel down to China to try to seal a deal that at the end of the day didn't come true. It was after this that this banking issue started coming in. So the question that we are asking ourselves this evening is this: how long should a country, whether you are a superpower or not, how long do you think you should stay in war before the cookie starts crumbling from within? Because I remember last year there was effort from the president of the United States to try to resolve this war between Russia and Ukraine. And I know that Russia has been very, very difficult for Donald Trump. You understand? And as much as the president Vladimir Putin has been very, very strong and has a very outstanding country that is known for very war preparedness, as compared to the little Ukraine that just came in. Their president even just came into power after playing a role, an acting role as Napoleon in one of the movies, only for him to come and replay the real role physically in his lifetime. But in my mind, I was just thinking, if Russia had known that there will be a year called 2026 where Iran will be blocking the Strait of Hormuz and will be disturbing the neighbors around them with baskets of bombs here and there. And the surrounding neighbors to Iran will now be investing billions of dollars in Ukraine to get their small low-cost drone, which I believe has been one of the tools that has brought in more money to Ukraine to now face the giants that has been beating them all the while. Because I'm telling you, it's been very, very deadly for what's it called, for Russia with respect to the amount of bombs, drones that are flying into Russia and beginning to attack the source of income. The oil plants and the like strategic locations are being hit on constant basis. And the greatest challenge is the fact that these drones that the Ukrainians are using are very, very cheap, whereas the defense system that the Russians are using to to block these drones are very, very expensive, meaning that you are losing billions to what is costing you Ukrainians just a couple of thousands. That doesn't make economic warfare cost preparedness. So the question now is, if the people are turning against their president, how true is that? If the people are experiencing shortage of the resources that they have in their own country, how true is that? And if the people are now going to the banks to say, you know what, I don't trust this system again, give me my money, how true is that? If all these three things I just mentioned are true, then wait for the last one. The last one is the fact that history has it that something usually happens in August. There is historical fact that in August, something happens in August based on history. That is usually, the month of August is usually referred to the month in which there was an uprising against a former leader in Russia. And that is why most Russians that have been speaking have been like, this August might be an August to remember. And that is why some speculations are going around that there might be what's it called, plots to unseat the current president or to ask him out of office. If you are in Russia, please kindly confirm to us how true this is. But we still have the question that is running through our mind. Is Russia actually going to cave in, or has Russia started caving in, or these are just some media paparazzi pomading of stories to make it look like, oh, Ukraine is winning and Russia is down, just like, that when it comes to war, there is always this sugar-coated story to brainwash people to believe what might not be. Let's have your view on that.
Yes. You cannot have the view unless you have those. So please, maybe you're seeing this live stream after now.
You can drop
And
in your
yes, you
comments.
can drop in your comments if you really know. Maybe you're close to Russia, you have people in Russia, people in Ukraine, you know what's actually happening, because most times the news just carries what is favorable, but you don't really get to know. That's why we're here. It's not that maybe we're against any of the
No,
countries.
no.
It's just like, and beyond what we see. Why we're interested in Russia is because Russia, to a large extent, determines a lot in the nations of the world, because they are the second largest producer of gas globally, and just like oil, to like fifth producer. So it determines a lot to the price of late. The price of our gas has been oscillating seriously, jumping up, jumping this, jump. When we just call the gas man, we tell you this very high price today. Tomorrow we tell you this
But
price.
I tell you, whatever price you think we are paying, we are enjoying because we have our gas production in Nigeria. You understand? But you now
For those
begin
that
you
don't
now
have,
begin to ask, what about countries that do not have these resources and the likes? And Russia happens to be the largest supplier of gas to the European neighbors. And
for the
this,
sanction,
yeah, before the sanction. Even till now,
now they're
because they
still
are doing backyard
rerouting.
rerouting through
Wow.
China, through some Indians, some this and what have you. But the question is, whatever happens in Russia has a way of culminating into a multiplier effect on the rest of the world.
Yes, that's just it.
Just like what is happening in Iran is affecting the global oil supply and prices. So the same thing goes here. But our advice here, as we bring this live stream to a wrap up, is the fact that we pray that whatever is going on in Russia, between Russia and Ukraine,
Ukraine,
gets settled on time, because the world cannot combine another chaos from Russia and Ukraine with what is already going on in Iran and US
and
and
Israel.
but Israel seems to be like quiet now. Like they are not throwing, Iran is no longer throwing missiles at Israel, or the news is just quiet. If you are aware of what is going on there, can you let us know? It's like Iran just forgot about Israel for now, and they are just dealing with the neighbors around them that are like suspected to be helping America and the likes of them. So as we bring this live stream to a close, we wish the world a better place. We do not want war here and there, because when you have droplets of wars across different countries, it touches on the globe. It touches on the globe. And I tell you, whether we like it or not, the scientific impact of all these missiles that are being launched and the likes of them are usually known to trigger some, what's it called? Some challenges. Let me just put it that way. To trigger some earth tremors. You understand? Earth tremors, because now you'll be hearing of numerous earthquakes somewhere, you'll be hearing of flooding and the likes. So all these chemicals, all these bad chemicals, bad energies that are released into the atmosphere, they are against humanity. All those balls of fire moving through the atmosphere from one location to the other, shaking the earth and the likes. Because when you shake the earth, to go to some weak part and settle in, that's where you have the earthquake. So we wish for peace, not for wars across the globe. Okay, from you?
Yes, that's actually it. Because war in a place is war in everywhere. Like if there's peace in a part of the world, it also translates to other parts. So we are not here against Russia, against Ukraine, because what we're saying here is people's life on at stake. People, as we are just here now, we are live streaming. Some persons cannot even think of anything at their places. All their properties are gone. Their loved ones are gone. So it's not something we can be smiling about. So we're really concerned, and we send our condolences to those that have lost loved ones or anything or properties. But we pray that there be a convergence, like, and there's peace. Let's peace reign, because it's not pain, it's not pain either of the nations, and that's it. So from me to you, make sure you don't lose your peace, whatever is happening in the world. Make sure you keep your joy, because your joy is your strength, and your strength is your life. And actually, I receive my own strength from the Holy Spirit. I don't know your own source of strength, but it can be yours. So that's it. And till we come your way next time. Let's hear from you in the comment section.
Okay, so this is Daseto signing out with my most beautiful, intelligent, outshining, hot baby girl. So we'll see you next week Sunday.
Catch you.
Love you.
Love you.
Bye bye. Don't forget to like and share this video. Why are you laughing? Are you laughing?